Major funding for these broadcasts has been provided by grants from Madison Realty Capital, Capital One Bank, New York Community Bank, M&T Bank, Sterling National Bank, Meridian Capital Group, Customers Bank, AmTrust Title, Ariel Property Advisors. Additional funding has been provided by AVR Realty Company, Bank of America Merrill Lynch, Briarwood Organization, CBRE, Chase Commercial Term Lending, Chase Mortgage Lending, Citizens Bank, CPEX Real Estate Services, Colliers International NYC, Collins Building Services, Douglaston Development, Levine Builders, Flushing Bank, Friedman LLP, Handler Real Estate Organization, Handro Properties, Hodges Ward Elliott, Inc., Investors Bank, James D. Kuhn Real Estate Institute at Syracuse University, Kilroy Architectural Windows, Matone Group, Mercantile Bank, New Banks, Newmark Knight Frank, Optimum Window Manufacturing Corp., People's United Bank, Rockefeller Group, Rosewood Realty Group, SJP Properties, Stonehenge NYC, TD Bank, Terra CRG, the Meringoff Family Foundation, the Moynihan Organization, Moynihan Capital Partners, and these friends.
You want to be in the restaurant business. Who wants to be in the restaurant business in New York City? Only Drew Naporin brings his friends to be on the restaurant business, to talk about their lives and how the world is. So today, due to the efforts of the legendary Drew Naporin,
thank you,
we are going to talk about the restaurant business in New York and how these guys got into the restaurant business and the food business. I have the famous chef, the TV personality. I have no idea what he does. Josh Capon over here.
I have no idea what I do either.
Sitting next to him is another chef. He came from a different background, Dan Kluger. And he even worked ABC, right? Okay. And last but not least, who's in the wine business, the liquor business.
The Godfather.
The Godfather.
The Godfather.
Okay. The Godfather of the restaurant business, Drew Naporin. Let's start with Josh. When you were growing up, did you have any idea that you were going to be a chef or in the restaurant business? Don't be shy.
According to my parents, I was either going to be a chef, an oceanographer, and study dolphins, or a mountain ranger.
But where'd you grow up?
I grew up in Rockland County, about a half hour north of the GW Bridge.
Oh, near Muncie to be with
Muncie, yeah. Next town over, suffering, Pomona.
Right.
My dad told me ever since I moved there, the town's been suffering.
That's a good word. Okay.
Yeah, huh?
So
you know you're getting old when you start using.
When you go to high school,
you start using your dad's jokes.
So
like,
wait. So when you went to high school, how did you decide to?
I made a mistake at an early age. My first job was in a bakery. I put on 20 pounds that I never lost, although I'm trying every day. And I fell in love with the food aspect of the business. My next job was as a busboy and a dishwasher.
No, wait. So the bakery was when? What age?
Bakery, I was 14, 15. Started work young.
And then?
I was a dishwasher. I was a busboy. Led my way into being a line cook.
No, but that happens. But you went to college, okay?
I did go to college. I went to, I started off at University of Maryland. I was there for a couple of years. I had a wonderful time. I had an absolutely wonderful time. I was not actually performing up to par academically. So
I'm very happy. That way I feel good.
Yes. And see, my parents showed up one day on a weekend, and my parents are divorced. So when my parents show up one place together at the same time, you're like, oh, this ain't right. Something's not right. And, you know, my parents, as all parents, they know your children. And they were smart enough to realize that I was not performing. Unless it clicks, it doesn't make sense to me. And they took me on a tour of Johnson Wales University in Rhode Island. And something clicked, and I said, let's go. I'm out. And I tapped out.
Now, did your parents, were they enthusiastic that you got involved with
Yeah, they were thrilled. They, you know, I think parents know their children, and they just knew that this was not a productive environment for me. And I was having a great time. I had tons of friends. We were partying. Everything was great. Luckily, I did my senior year of high school at the local community college. So I got enough credits to kind of carry me a little bit. But I would have been there for another 2 years, and then after 4 years, I would have been like, great, now what? So they were smart enough to realize that. And they gave me another option, which I'm very thankful for. And I took a tour of Johnson & Wales, and I just walked around the campus, and I saw everybody cooking. I'm like, this is it, let's do it. And I transferred out, which I like to say was a very mature decision at a young age to say, you know what, I'm going to leave the party school, the big University of Maryland, and I went to a trade school, and I got straight A's from that point on in. And
So what year did you graduate Johnson & Wales?
94, 95. I graduated high school in 90, so about 95, I guess.
And then what happens?
I was fortunate
you
enough.
have to remember, this guy went to Cornell. He went to the Maine Hospitality Institute. He never learned to cook. He never, but the cruise ship was his favorite, which we'll talk about in a little while.
High above Cayuga's waters, there's...
Yeah.
Okay. So now you're a graduate of Johnson.
That's the Cornell album. Do you know that song? That's a Cornell song.
Yeah, he went to...
I don't even know how I know
okay,
that
I
song.
remember. So then, what happens next?
You have to do an externship during the school to graduate, and I got my externship at Oriel, which was Charlie Palmer back in the day. I think there were 14 people that applied for that externship, and I got it. So that was a big deal, and that definitely opened up a lot of doors.
Then you went to Lennox Room?
I graduated culinary school. I wound up going to Colorado. I was home for 2 days, and I ran into a buddy of mine from high school, and it was Monday Night Football, and I said, hey, what are you up to? He says, oh, I'm moving out to Colorado for the winter. I got a job in the hospital. And he said to me, if you drive out with me, my dad will fly you back. Because obviously they didn't want him driving cross country by himself. I said, this was Monday Night Football. I said, when are you leaving? He says, Wednesday. I said, if you leave on Friday, I'll go with you. He goes, done. And I literally packed up my knives. I packed up my shoes. I brought a couple of resumes with me. I think I had a few $100 in my pocket, and we traveled cross country. We had an amazing trip. And I got there, and I kind of pounded the pavement, and I got 7 job offers in 2 days.
We're in Denver or Boulder?
We were in Beaver Creek in Vail, and mainly because I think I had Oriel on my resume, which was a New York City experience. A lot of doors opened, and they're always looking for good help. And I took a job on the mountain at a place called Splendido at Beaver Creek. I got a room in the townhouse that he was living in through the hotel, and I hung out for 7-8 months. Came home with a quarter ride home. Supported myself along the way. Had some great times. Came back, got back in touch with Charlie, worked at the Lennox Room. I went over to go work with David Burke at Park Avenue Cafe, and then I was fortunate enough to travel abroad. I've always, to me, food is the common denominator in this world. We can talk about food all we want, but it's really the other stuff that needs to be addressed.
So now you come back, and then what do you do? I mean, did you meet him at that time?
No, I don't think so.
I came back, and I was working in the city for a few years, and I've always wanted to travel. One of the reasons why I got into food is because I thought it would be a ticket to travel the world. And my dad always said, you can go anywhere. Cooking is a trade. And he said, you can always go anywhere in the world to get a job. And I like to say I was Italian in a former life, because there was something about Italy that was...
Dolphin and Italian.
And Mexican.
Right, we understand now that. But, how does this transgress into burgers, into Mexican, into a variety of things? How do you grow into this?
I've always wanted to travel, so I was fortunate enough. David Burke came into the kitchen one day, and I was there for about a year plus at that point. And this was before internet. This was before any of that stuff. And he held up a package. He goes, "Hey, I was just in Germany, and I met a chef over there at a Savannah venison campaign, and his brother wants to come and cook here and live here for a month. Who wants to go to Germany and swap?" Swap. And my hand just shot up. Right. And he goes, "Here, follow up." And I was literally snail mail back and forth. And I gave up my apartment, and I took his apartment for a month, and I left it open-ended, and I wound up staying for a year and doing Germany, Italy, Spain, and France. It was probably one of the greatest experiences of my life.
Well, let's talk about the kid who went to Syracuse. When you were growing up, you had no idea that you were going to get involved in the hospitality business.
No, and actually, it's kind of funny because similar start. Very good family friends of ours owned a bakery on the Upper West Side. I can't even tell you what year it opened. I was probably about 8 or 9.
Used to crush the rainbow cookies too?
Yep. And my mom was kind of a part-time baker. My father loved baking, and so they would go and kind of help out on the weekends to get the business started. And at like 9, 10 years old, maybe even younger, I was in the bakery as well. And that transferred into some summer jobs working in a bakery. Went off to Syracuse, had no idea what I was going to do. Thought I would do architecture, engineering, something like that. I was really kind of into that sort of idea of building things and working with my hands in terms of engineering, and was a very good partying student, not a very good student. And at some point I decided I wanted to do physical therapy, and Syracuse has an incredible graduate program, but no undergraduate program. So they said, do nutrition and all these other prerequisites to become a graduate student. And I took some nutrition classes, food science classes, food safety classes. These were all part of the program. And I started to get this little bit of a bug. And through this program, I was fortunate enough to meet Danny Meyer. This was right when I was starting to get interested.
Danny who?
Danny Meyer. I think you've heard of him.
Don't worry, he's been on the show once.
I'm sure.
There was a gentleman named Leon Jeanette who had a lecture series. And he would bring in all sorts of people. He brought in David Boulay, brought in Danny, brought in Tommy Hilfiger, all these different people to speak. And he said, I want you to have lunch with Danny. And so I met Danny, and this is 1993 or something like that, and applied for a summer internship program, worked in the front of the house for the summer, and came back to school to graduate. And I was like, this is what I'm doing. Now I'm an A student.
Okay, you had it seems like you had more of a desire to always have food. You came from the front of the store, okay,
Yeah.
and then you became a chef later on.
Yeah, so I was working at Union Square Cafe after I graduated in the front of the house, and I thought probably want to be a Drew at some point, or a Danny, and I want to own restaurants, but I'm not going to cook. But I should understand what's going on in the kitchen, so I spent my days off in the kitchen just learning a little bit about what the deal was. And this was back at a time when you could work in the kitchen for free, not anymore.
Yeah, not anymore.
And at one point, Michael Romano offered me a job in the kitchen, and I was like, sure, why not? And I started as a prep cook. I mean, everybody around me spoke Spanish. I didn't speak one word of Spanish. I didn't know what I was doing. I had one knife and a peeler, and I spent 3 years at Union Square Cafe working my way up the line. And I was fortunate enough to meet Floyd Cardoz. He was working out of Union Square Cafe at the time, getting ready to open Tabla. And I really was excited about what he was doing and the food and the flavors. He said, come work with me. And so I went over and opened Tabla with him and spent 7 years with him. So a total of 10 years with Danny. And at that point, it was time to move on. I didn't travel. I didn't bounce around to a lot of different restaurants like you see people doing today. And I left there and worked on a private club project with Tom Colicchio. So now I've done Danny, Floyd, Michael Romano, Tom Colicchio. I did that for about 4.5 years and met Jean-Georges one day at the farmer's market. And Franca says, do you know Jean-Georges? I'm like, yeah, I mean, of course you know Jean-Georges. Who doesn't know Jean-Georges? But he doesn't know who I am. And so she started getting us to talk. And literally, I think 2 days later, I met with him for an interview and signed up probably a week later. And it was to be the chef of the Mark Hotel at that point in time. And that was delayed in opening, so I traveled around the country doing all these other openings with them. And as soon as the Mark Hotel was getting started, we got room service open, and we were still a couple months away from really opening. ABC Kitchen happened, and so they knew that was much more my speed, the sort of farm to table sort of thing, and so I moved over there.
How do you end up at Cornell? I mean, you were a Stuyvesant High School.
Well, actually, it was.
He
it was a
he had
fluke.
roots, potential.
No, it was a fluke because, first of all, Stuyvesant, when I was going there, was on 16th Street, and in a class of 700, my ranking was like 568 or something. It was pretty low down. So one day, one of the mothers said, Drew likes, food. He should go to Cornell. They have a hospitality school there. And I had no idea.
Wait a second. Do you realize he was at McDonald's also?
Yeah, I worked at McDonald's.
McDonald's on First Avenue, okay.
23rd Street store. Anyway, I didn't even get an application to go to Cornell. I borrowed the application from a fellow Stuyvesanttian, and I applied and I got in. And
but you always liked food. But I mean,
What'd you do at McDonald's? Were you registered?
Quarter pound grill.
Quarter pound grill man.
And this was a time when McDonald's was not sure they wanted to come inner city. So they had a store up in the 70s that I worked at, and so when we opened the 23rd Street store, it like overnight became like one of the most busy stores of their whole chain, and but it was a great experience. I mean, absolutely phenomenal experience.
How come
which
you
I've
never,
applied,
how come
you know,
you never
for the
went,
hamburgers at Madison Square
okay,
Garden.
how come you never got involved with the cooking side?
I wanted to actually be a chef. See, unlike these guys, you know, I sort of like, I was cooking, you know, I mean, I was cooking at home, but I wanted to cook. But as a freshman, when I was 18 years old, 1974, I was walking down the corridor of the school, and somebody had posted a sign looking for 6 waiters experienced in Russian service to travel to the following ports: Leningrad, Oslo, Copenhagen. You know, I was like, I'm going to do this. So anyway, and sure enough, I had never worked in a dining room. And I applied, I lied that I had worked at a place that served Russian service was from the platter to the plate. So anyway, I get on the cruise ship in July of 1974, and there's 60 waiters. The dining room is a veritable football field, 600-seat dining room. And I'm the only waiter with a blue shirt on. And I had 59 waiters making fun of me. The other thing was the kitchen was downstairs by escalator.
Yes, tell
This
the
was
story.
the MS Vista Fjord. Anyway, the kitchen was downstairs by escalator, so I did not know how to hold a tray like this. So I'm holding the tray like this, and I have 59 waiters making fun of me. But you know, it's like riding a bicycle. You learn how to do it, and then you know, over the years, when I was at school, you know, I went back on the ship many, many times, and so all that front of the house, I realized that the game really was in the front of the house, and so the cooking thing sort of took a backseat to that.
Now, you could have stayed in the front of the house.
Yeah, I really kind of got bit by the bug. I enjoyed the speed of it, the intensity of it, the heat, for lack of a better word, and I enjoyed cooking.
So here's the question. I know the story, so tell the audience. How did you decide at a young age, especially when you were running? You know, he has a picture of himself in the marathon.
Yeah,
That's how he found Montrachet, the first restaurant.
407.
But how do you have the desire at a young age to go into being a restaurateur?
No, you know, I mean, my father obviously worked with the state liquor authority. We were going to restaurants as kids, so I had this tremendous exposure. I mean, I was seeing things.
Yeah, but you know what? You started.
So I always
you
knew I was
started a
gonna do it.
restaurant at a young age. Okay.
Yeah, I
You
did.
started a restaurant before the Food Channel, before all of this. You know, it was.
But that wasn't easy. That wasn't easy because, you know, when I was at school, you know, oh, Drew, what are you going to do when you graduate? I'm going to open my own restaurant. I graduated in 1977. The restaurant opened in 1985. It took 8 years, you know, and I worked.
You were still a young kid. You were 30.
No, I was 29 years old, and you know, so with $150,000, which you couldn't do that
with
today.
your SBA loan.
And you know, $50,000 from the SBA, thank God. We opened on a sleepy street in Tribeca. David Boulay was the chef. We charged $16. That's 1.6 for 3 courses. And Brian Miller, at the time running for the New York Times, gave us 3 stars in the New York Times. So it was like the equivalent of winning the lottery without being able to collect the cash. You had to be there.
But how do you decide to go and make the step, you know, from safety of the salary and everything else, and on the opportunities? How do you decide to?
They probably offered it to you versus you going to them and asking for it.
I mean, I think there's a commitment too. If you're really going to plan on staying someplace for a long time, you know, you want to invest in it. You want to make sure you have some equity and some skin in the game, and that you're part of the the bigger picture.
How do you decide to open up the other restaurants? You have a couple now.
We had Lore, and then from Lore, we were successful in the New York City Food and Wine Festival Burger Bash. We opened up Burger and Barrel. Then my partner John was involved with Dos Caminos back in the day, and coming from Arizona, he always had a love for Mexican food. So we wound up opening El Toro Blanco, and then we opened up Barry Meat Company.
You had ABC, you had 2 great jobs, you know, you had a good opportunity. How did you decide you wanted to open up Loring Place, which took a couple of years, I read?
because I just wanted to do my own thing. I wanted to design something, start to finish, and it's not about not answering to somebody. I mean, I loved working with Jean-Georges, and I loved the relationship we had, but I wanted to be able to say, if I want, you know, the plates to be this color, they're going to be this color. If I want to put a steak on a plate, it's going to be cooked this way. And I just wanted to call my own shot, so to speak. And so I wanted to design something start to finish, choose every color, choose every fabric. And so that was really, I think, the impetus to say, okay,
Now, you
go and do
opened
it.
up in what, a year ago?
A year and a half ago.
8th Street.
Yeah. I mean, it started to change. Friends of mine own a bar across the street, and I've seen, they've been there for 10 years, so I've seen it not be such a great block to starting to change. Stumptown came in, the Marlton's there. But I mean, I remember calling Akhtar, who had the restaurant on 8th Street, and we were talking, and I hadn't even told him I was looking at 8th Street, and something came up, and he, you know, just said what a horrible block it had been, and everything that had gone wrong. And I'm sitting there thinking, am I making, you know, the biggest mistake of my life? But there was something, I really loved the space, and I loved the area, and I don't think, even at the time I was looking, I don't think it was a bad block. I mean, it started to change in the past probably 5 years, and I'm catching it at the point where
I mean, if you're talking about change, take the Bowery.
yeah.
I mean,
But you know, it's funny because I actually walked to his restaurant last week, and I'm walking down the street, and I kind of even know where I was going at the time. I'm like, what a great street. I'm like, oh, wait a second, Loring Place is up here. And it's funny because you don't see it at the time, but now I think it's an absolute perfect location for you. And I think
Right.
you're going to create, because you're there now, that whole neighborhood is going to change because you.
I actually had a restaurant not around the corner. We're 24 Fifth Avenue, where Claudette is. I had that back in the 80s, and that actually wasn't a bad location. But 8th Street was a little funkier
right.
back in the day. Today, it's, I mean, I don't know how you would describe it, but you know, space is like a person. When you see a space, you either like it or you don't like it. You know, that your first impression. And if you have a space that's difficult, that has some idiosyncrasies, it's very hard to overcome. It's very hard to make it successful.
I mean, but Drew, you've been to Loring Place many times. You would agree that space is a complete reflection of Dan. It really works well.
I would say I'm remiss in my not having gone to Loring Place, but I'm waiting till
Wait
he
a
settles
second.
in a little
Have
bit.
you been to all of Josh's restaurants?
Never.
Or has he?
Josh and I are dear friends, and but I haven't actually. You know, I'm waiting for him to settle in a little bit, but no. I'm actually.
Marry Me company that's 3 years old. It's cool. It's funny because when Drew calls,
I swear.
he just calls. I go yes, whatever you need,
Yeah,
yes.
yeah.
But he doesn't step foot in any
No,
of the
no. You know,
restaurants.
it's really.
You know what? Thanks for having
No,
me, guys. I really appreciate it.
Part of the problem is, you know, you've been on TV a little more than him. You know.
Yeah, that's true. I you know, the TV
But I
Food
think
Network.
both of you were on Beat Bobby Flay, if I remember right.
I've been a judge.
You've been a judge, I know.
I judge.
They throw you a bone. Once and again, you become a judge in later life. No, but listen, these guys, you know, it's great to see what's happened because they're nice people, but they work hard, and if you can parlay, you know, the hard work into a successful
So
restaurant.
how
that's-
important is the TV shows, the Food Network, and everything for your restaurant business? Because a couple of years ago, he brought me somebody on the show who we won't mention, a young lady, who I don't believe ever opened up a second restaurant, okay? And she's on the shows all the time, but it doesn't mean that she's going to be a successful restaurateur or a chef.
Right.
How do you see it?
I mean, obviously, it doesn't hurt your business by any means. I think it depends on what your interest is. For me, I don't have an interest in doing that. If I do one-offs here and there, that's great, but I don't want to focus on that. I want to focus on the restaurant.
Josh?
I don't know how much it moves the needle. I mean, when they call, I do it. You know, if Rachel Ray calls and says, "Hey, can you come on the show?" Sure. And you know, if, whatever it is, you know, I was on the Chew a bunch of times. You do get some random customers. You get people coming from out of town because they saw you on the show. Does it move the needle a ton? I don't think so, but it's
I
a good
think those
exposure.
things are great. I'm just saying in terms of to do like one of the contests or to do a
Okay,
weekly
and then
show.
I noticed, you know, they have the Taste of the Hamptons and all the rest. Does that help?
It used to. It was a novelty that restaurants would get together and partake in charity, but now it's become a little bit more commonplace. And I think, it doesn't necessarily throw off residual business.
I think it's more if you believe in the charity and want to be part of it.
Yeah, I think it's right now it's
But it's
about
getting
that.
harder and harder to do them.
yeah.
I mean, I think we used to do them. At times, I feel like I've been places where you did one a month, if not more.
Yeah.
And now, financially and physically, you
It's,
just can't
it's
commit
costly, and you don't. It's costly for labor-wise, and most importantly, you're not in your restaurant. Sometimes I think you're just better off being.
And also, you know, it's hard enough to cook in a professional kitchen with hot and cold running water.
Right, now you have to go on a
And you're in a
temporary
field
stove.
someplace.
to. Yeah.
Right.
You know what? I always, as a restaurateur, it was an amazing thing to do these events because I could see the personality of the chef. And number one, why did they choose a dish that was foreign to? It wasn't a dish that was on their menu, so they're doing a dish that's foreign to them. Maybe a first time. Jean-Louis Paladin always challenged himself. He would always do weird stuff, but I always found it interesting. But then you're watching. This is our only opportunity to see a guy from California or a guy from, you know, outside of our own marketplace. And you see his bedside manner, you see his personality, and you see, you know, I was always interested in doing a few restaurants, so it was interesting for me to see it, the way they behaved, the way they got along with everybody.
So what we're going to do for the next show, we're going to talk about the challenges involved with running a restaurant today.
Terrific.
So I'd like to thank Josh, Dan, and needless to say, Drew. And I'll see you.
I'm not sticking around for the next show.
You're staying around.
Part two.
Part two.